Stop apologizing. You are who you are. That's okay. Don't worry if I like you or don't like you. Like yourself. Don't be sorry. Be you.
When you don't belong to yourself, you don't belong to anyone. But those little bits of authenticity, they kind of burst forth from us.
The stories I really want to change, when I say life rewritten, it's changing the stories you tell yourself about who you are.
Let's up level. Like, you don't need to be a different person. You need to be more you. You need to realize all the filters that you've let take over your actual authentic self.
Yeah.
It's time to be all of you.
We aren't meant for everybody.
And we have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
When you trust yourself, you more easily trust others. When you know your worth, you can extend that same level of love and gratitude and grace to the people around you.
All you need is awareness. And then your imagination can kick in and you say, ooh, what can I do now?
Awareness comes in stages. It kind of comes as you're ready for that deepening.
The best way to glow from the inside out is just turning on your light. It's there. Your light is there. Nobody took it out. We put it under wraps because we were afraid. And you can just take the cover off. Please take the cover off. Please. I want to see your light.
Get ready to love everything I am. All I want to be and understand. 'Cause I won't dim my light for no one.
Welcome to Popular, the show that will finally help you be seen and heard, because it's time that you made an impact with your voice. Your voice matters. It's time for you to be seen and heard and for you to make the difference in the world that you've always wanted to. I'm Carrie Garrison, and I'm here to interview experts on publicity, mindset, leadership, and more so that we can all discover how we can become our most magnetic selves. At its core, Popular is about knowing your worth, owning your unique superpowers, and using your gifts to make a difference in this world. What it comes down to is that if you are looking outside of yourself to feel important, it will never be enough. This is a journey of discovering your magnetic confidence from the inside out. Welcome to Popular. Guys, I am celebrating today because my podcast has finally hit 10,000 downloads, and it's been a long time coming, and I'm just so blessed to have you guys all here and to be doing this podcast. It's one of my favorite things ever, and I'm just so thankful. So that's what I wanted to say, is thank you so much for listening, for being here, and I'm really thrilled to introduce you to today's topic and today's incredible guest, because we just have another life-changing episode for you today. We're going to talk about how we need to all stop apologizing for being who we are. Carrie West is an author, a speaker, and a life story coach who uses her entertainment industry experience to support clients with their life and business stories. She thinks that a well-developed, balanced story brings fulfillment and success in business, relationships, and in life. She helps people and businesses change the underlying stories that impede their abilities for success. She is a sought-after speaker, webinar leader, and the author of her incredible book, Life Rewritten, which launches in just a few months. And she has so graciously sent us a snippet of a recording from her audiobook. It is so good. It made me want to cry with just feeling so understood and feeling so seen from my own experience. And I'm going to play that little recording for you, and I think that you might resonate with her words as well. So let's dive into that recording, and then we will dive into this interview, which is amazing. And I'm so thankful for Carrie and for the incredible people that I have gotten to meet during this podcast. It has been just such a gift in my life.
The difference between your present self and your desired self hinges on a single powerful element: the story you tell yourself about you and your potential. How do I know this? because I am living proof. In the chapters that follow in my book, Life Rewritten, I will share how, through a deep understanding of life as a story, I transformed my existence from barely surviving to living a rich and fulfilling life, brimming with every kind of abundance. I had a rough start in life, though not in the way you might expect. I wasn't physically harmed or beaten, but what my parents did left even deeper scars. They ignored me. I remember Mom telling people that when I cried, I was put in a closet. When I was hungry, I had to wait until she felt like feeding me. I wasn't held, cradled, or comforted. In my new more mind, I imagined that this isolation felt like solitary confinement. The impact of that neglect stayed with me for years. At night, I would lie awake, unable to sleep, until I discovered the comfort of storytelling. In my mind, I created rich tales of my real mom who loved me and was searching for me. I knew she would rescue me from this life. Every night, I added a new chapter, imagining my real parents as loving, larger-than-life figures who would carry me away into a life of joy and comfort. Through these stories, I found peace, even at a young age. That's the power of story. It carried me through some of my darkest moments, providing a place of calm when reality felt too harsh. As I grew, I searched for ways to make sense of my life. Therapy, meditation, and countless self-help techniques were helpful. But the real breakthrough came when I was studying at the American Film Institute in my early 30s. Immersed in the art of storytelling, I saw clearly how the story we write mirror the lives we lead. It brought my childhood bedtime stories into sharper focus, showing me the incredible connection between narrative and healing. Today's stories have become an important tool I use to assist my clients to create new lives for themselves.
Hi, Carrie. I am so excited to talk to you. You've written this amazing book called Life Rewritten, and I think that is such an incredible title for a book. And I feel like changing our perspective on life is the most powerful thing that we can do. So I would love to dive into how you got to this point, why you decided to name your book that, and to introduce yourself and get to know you.
Thank you. Because the thing I loved about your write-up was you talk about being seen and heard.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people, a lot of women are invisible. And I know I was invisible for decades. And worse, I was a chameleon. I did everything to fit in because I had a rough start, and I knew the way to survive was to become somebody who would make my mom okay, because she was not a healthy person. She didn't take care of me. I almost died a couple times as a baby, and I learned. And it's so funny how we learn these things, you know?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I wasn't sitting in a classroom and somebody said, these are the rules to survival. We're not given a manual. We come into this world naked and crying and screaming and wondering what the hell's going on. And then we're put into these situations where it's worse than an improv class, you know,
Right.
you don't know, and you're supposed to figure stuff out. So you do what you can to belong. Needing a sense of belonging is so vital to our basic needs as human beings.
Our biology. Well, and especially to your mother. I mean, that is like the most core relationship from the time that you're born.
Yes. And so I learned to become what other people wanted me to be, so I would have a sense of belonging and fitting in. And so it took me a long time to be safe and courageous to show people who I was.
Yes. Well, and there's this amazing quote that it's like, when you don't belong to yourself, you don't belong to anyone. But it takes us so long to really come home to that truth, because there's so many other people around us telling us that, no, you need to be this way. That's how you belong. You make yourself small. You stop talking so loud. You fit in. You change this. You change that. You be a chameleon. You change yourself into fit into what everybody else wants, then you'll belong, but then you don't really belong because you're not really being authentic.
Yeah, and how many times have you or anybody else who's hearing this podcast felt that they don't fit in? I am not fitting into this group. I don't fit into this situation. And we shove that aside. We
Yep.
shove that feeling aside
Yes.
constantly.
Well, and
And
can I'm sorry, I'm such an interrupter. What I find is that those little bits of authenticity, they kind of burst forth from us. Like we
yeah,
almost can't help it. Like I've always been this big, outlandish, sparkly, wild personality. And as much as I tried to tame myself, and as much as my mother tried to tame me, my
yeah,
personality would just burst out as much as I wanted to like no, I'm shy. I can be quiet. No, I would just be me accidentally.
yeah. And then you do something like that, and what do? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. How many times
Mm,
I've had to say to more people, stop apologizing. You are who you are. That's okay. Don't worry if I like you or don't like you. Like yourself. You
yes.
don't need me to like you or not like you.
Well, and the truth is that needy energy is actually really off-putting.
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime you feel this urge to apologize for something you've done, take a moment and
Question it.
think about, are you feeling like you don't belong or you don't fit in right now? Because that's when you get the message. And
Mm,
oh, I'm sorry, sorry, sorry. No, don't be sorry. Be you. And that's where I got that message a bit ago. And I started putting down, a lot of my friends, because I help a lot of my friends on the side kind of thing. And a lot of them would say, when COVID happened, they'd say, why don't you do this work? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you writing this book? Why aren't you talking about you and how you do this? So I said, all right, I'll do it. And dang if it hasn't been well received. Dang if people aren't responding to it. Because I think we're at a time in the evolution process where we need to be authentic, where
Mm,
we need to show the world who we are. And I'm talking to you, ladies. We need
yes,
powerful women.
we
And
really do.
we are still stuck in a paradigm where we need a man's permission. And that's no, we need our own permission.
Yes.
We don't need anybody, whether man, woman, animal, mineral, whatever. We don't need anyone's permission to be who we are. We
Yes, I have a line in one of my songs I wrote that says, "You don't need permission to use your voice," because I had that line in my head, that story of, "No, I need to raise my hand to speak up.
Yeah,
I need to wait until somebody calls on me. I need to wait to be recognized before I
yeah,
can speak
yeah.
up and say my truth." And
You don't need teachers or society or anybody to call on you. In fact, I would say we need to call on ourselves and we need to tell our stories. Yep, we need
yep,
to do
I
it.
love it. I want to come back to this point where you were talking about you didn't recognize how powerful your message was. And I think that so often we have blinders on to our own superpowers because
Yep,
they come so innately to us. And we're like, no, that's just how I exist in this world. It's not that big of a deal. But then
yeah,
when we kind of accept that reflection from those who really love the true, authentic, self that we have, and they're going, no, actually, you really are so amazing at this thing. If we can really let that love in, then maybe
yeah,
we can love ourselves enough to go, oh, no, I'm
yeah,
actually kind of awesome.
yeah. No, it's it and you will change instantly. Instantly. It's so funny. And some people say, well, what do you mean change? I don't want to change. It's like, well, when I say change instantly, it doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden wake up and you're in a different house or in different relationships. It doesn't mean your significant other is going to all of a sudden say we're done and leave. You feel this sense of peace inside yourself. That's the change. we've all had those frantic days where it's like, and everything, and you're constantly feeling on edge, or you're constantly feeling something's about to happen. I'm worrying too much, or I've got too many doubts today. When you start living who you are, that goes away. That's the change. All that self-talk. The stories I really want to change, when I say life rewritten, it's changing the stories you tell yourself about who you are.
Yes. I love it. Well, and I would love, like, I love, like, let's change ourselves for the better, but let's talk about up leveling. Like, let's
I
up
love that.
level. Like, you
I
don't
do
need to be a different person. You need to be more you. You need
that.
to realize all the filters that you've let take over your actual authentic self. It's
Yeah.
time to be all of you.
Yeah. And not only do you feel this peace, there's an enormous amount of freedom
Yeah.
in that, where you don't feel the constant tug to be something you're not. And it's tiring, it's exhausting. And I used to hate walking into a room with a crowd of people because I didn't know who I had to be. Because there's so many
Oh.
different types of people, and it's like, and I didn't have a sense of who I was, so I became tiny and small, and people would always say, "What's Carrie about? What's she about? I don't know. Carrie doesn't seem to be pretty present. Carrie seems to be blah." And anyone who knows me knows I'm anything but blah. But when I'm in a group, I don't know who to be because, or I didn't know who to be because I couldn't find that one person I could be my chameleon self with.
Mm.
One-on-ones, I could be the chameleon self. So I hated group friendships. I hated group texts. I hated anything to do with a group because I didn't know who I was. And that is exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yes.
And it blocks you. You can't find your real friendship group. When you are who you really are, you find your real friendship groups.
Yes, you magnetize the people who are meant for you.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And we aren't meant for everybody.
And we have
We
to be
aren't,
okay with that.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, do you like everybody you meet?
Right. And we don't have to. Like, that isn't that such a gift of this world that we do not have to be for everyone? And then that
Yeah.
means that not everyone has to be for us.
Yes, all I ask is that we accept other people, we respect their choices and decisions, but we don't have to make them like us, and we don't have to be afraid because they're different. All we
Yeah.
have to do is accept. And
Yes.
and and once you do that, then knowing who you are becomes second nature. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, oh yeah.
I love
And
it. All right. So when we
yeah.
talk about telling a more powerful story, what is the first step? How do we tell a more powerful story when that voice in our head is our mothers or our societies or our teachers or that one person, or, the media that told us for so long, nope, you don't look good in that color. Nope, you need to be small. How do we change that? Or what's the first step to changing that? Because it's a process.
Yeah, no, it is a process. The first step is understanding your origin story. Your
Yeah.
origin story tells you where all those voices came from. I know one of the most wonderful and consistent voices that a lot of women have in their heads is, who do you think you are?
Yep.
And I have taught people that when that story typically comes from some parental figure or somebody in the childhood in your life, when you would want to do something, or I would want to stay up late, or like you, I wanted to dance on the tables at school. And the teachers would always say to me, who do you think you are that you can dance on tables at school? And oh my God. And
Trouble.
I'm in trouble. And I'd run. So that who do you think you are? I started saying to people, once we find out who that is, then when next time you hear that voice, you put out your hand and you say, hi, I'm Carrie KC West. It's a pleasure to meet you. Who do you
Mm.
think you are? I know who I am. I'm Carrie KC.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes. For me, it was like, who do you think you are shining so brightly? And now I'm like, oh, I'm a freaking goddess. Like, I'm amazing. Like, watch me shine.
But
Like,
do you know where that story came from? Do you know where that first doubt?
yes, I've done a lot of inner child work over the last summer. It's extremely powerful to dig into those origins, and it's something that comes up again and again and again. Like you keep digging at those stories and realizing as you do this work, like more things come up.
Yes, but that's it. Once you get into origin stories, when you
Mm.
understand your relationship with your mom, with your dad, any siblings, and then you have to take another look. And in this look, you say who were their parents?
Oh,
Because what you find out in your origin stories is that your parents got their stories from their parents.
yes.
And that stories, this is where the generational stories come in. Then their parents got the stories from their parents and back. And
Hmm.
so the generational stories accumulate and they sometimes they get synthesized into who do you think you are? Or they get synthesized into one of my favorites was young ladies should be seen and not heard.
Oh,
And you know, the whole young lady message. You're younger than me, so you probably never got that one, but
oh
that
no,
was
I definitely got that one.
okay. I was gonna say
Yeah,
the famous one for my age group, you know, young ladies and
yes.
and the whole difference between men and women. You know, my brother was the king, but the girls had to do their chores. And so we were being trained from day one to be good housewives and moms.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I got married at 18 and had three kids by the time I was 24.
yep.
Yeah,
And I fought it on my mom's deathbed because I fought it. And when
yeah.
she was dying, she said to me, please get married, try it for 6 weeks. And I'm like, why not five? Why not eight? But
Right.
six.
Just try it out.
Yeah,
That's
she was,
that's how marriage works.
but she was so afraid. And my older sister had the same message for me. She's like, if you don't get married, how are you going to get by in the world? And it's like, oh my God. So we're
Yeah.
given, when you get that message, what you're really being told is you aren't enough.
Mm.
You can't do it on your own.
Well, and
You
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 get
need
to
a
look at that and you get to go, "Oh, that feels gross." Like, and then you go, "Wait, why? What is that? What is that telling me?" Hmm.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's hmm.
I
And then
used
you
to
get to dig in.
Yeah, and I'd have this conversation with my significant other because he has a son, and I still haven't gotten married, by the way. He and I have been together 12, 13 years, and I just refuse. I'm determined to just break that pattern of I need marriage to give me any self-worth. But he talks to his son, and his son at 30 years old still calls him, Dad, how do I do this? I said, let him figure it out. Well, he called and I said, the greatest gift you can give your kid is independence. And him calling you for help, great thing. And you're always there willing to help. I love that. But sometimes you have to let him make mistakes. When he was 24 years old, he called us and he was like, "Oh, I'm thinking of going to see a soccer game in England." And his dad was trying to talk him out of it. I said, "Give me the phone." I said, "How old are you?" 24. I said, "These are the times where you go and do stupid like flying on an international flight and screwing it up and missing your flight and getting too drunk and missing stuff, but you still make it home. And you're going to have a hell of a time." And his father was sitting there going, "What are you telling him? What are you telling him?" I said,
Make choices and own it and run with it and live your life.
I'm telling him that I trust him
Yeah.
to think it through and figure it out.
Hmm.
That's what I'm telling him.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting, there's this expression that like all trust is self-trust. And because you so deeply trust yourself, you're
Yeah.
able to extend that trust out to him. And as parents, like if our parents didn't trust themselves, then they weren't able to trust us
Nah.
with anything. So the more that we can do this work on ourselves,
Yeah.
the better we're able to extend that love and trust to others. It
Yeah.
just it and then to our teams, to our businesses, to every area of our lives. It just is completely expansive. When you trust yourself, you
Yes.
more easily trust others. When you know your worth, you can extend that same level of love
Yeah.
and gratitude and grace to the people around you.
Yes. So you asked me the question about where do we start? Until you understand, that's why I say origin stories, because until you understand that these Inner doubts were given to you.
They're not yours.
They're not yours. They're not yours. So until you can see that and understand that they weren't given to your parents either. Your parents didn't create this world that wasn't trusting or whatever. It was given to them by their parents, and so on and so on. So you can break that cycle by understanding that these are not your doubts,
Mm,
not your fears. These were given to us. My mom used to say to me, "Well, I don't want to worry about you, so I'm going to tell you bad things so you won't do stuff, so you'll stay small." And it's like you're cutting me off at the knees, lady.
yeah.
You're not letting me figure out that I'm a capable, forget even being a capable woman. I'm a capable person.
Yep.
I'm a smart person and I can figure this out. But we aren't given the message that we're capable and we'll figure it out. We're given
Yeah.
the message to be afraid, to be small, to stay hidden, and to just keep quiet and carry on. Simon's British, keep calm and carry on. Don't
Yeah.
rock the boat. Don't rock the boat. Just
Yep.
go with the flow, keep your head down.
Yep. And
And
when you realize that it's all inner work and it's all about awareness, you go, oh, they didn't know. They
yeah.
were not aware. They had no idea. So they couldn't change it. It's my responsibility to change this for me. And then because I'm changing it for me, I get to change it for my kids because maybe I won't pass that same like
You're
emotional
breaking the
baggage
cycle.
along.
You're going to break the cycle right
Yeah.
now.
Yep. Oh, amazing. Tell us a little bit about your book and where we can get it.
My book will be out March 24th or 25th of next year.
Amazing.
It's called Life Rewritten, and it's a unique book. And like there's three books in one. Each chapter starts with a quote from a movie or a television show, because I was in the entertainment industry. And then it goes into a story from my life. And I use that story to talk about an element of storytelling, like
Oh, I
themes
love
or plots or characters or inciting incidents or story arc. So I use my story to describe the element, and then I give you a how-to section on how you can apply that element to your life and how using these examples you can see this in your own life.
you
And I
could
do have a
read.
section,
You could
yeah,
rewrite your story.
yeah, I do have a section on origin stories too.
Oh,
And
I
it's
love it.
and by the way, all you need is awareness. You really don't have to, because once you're aware and you go, oh, your shoulders sink down. You go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I get it. And then your imagination can kick in and you say, ooh, what can I do now?
Yes. And awareness comes in stages. It kind of comes as you're ready for that deepening.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm super curious what you did in the entertainment industry.
I have my master's in film and writing from the
Oh,
American Institute. And then I worked for different production companies and we made movies. I also was in the television industry. So I wasn't, a lot of people would say, oh, you got to be in film. That's the best. I didn't do that. I like working. So I did location scouting. I
yeah.
did producing. I wrote a couple of short films that were made. I loved it. I worked at MTV.
Fun.
I
I
did different things.
That's amazing. I teach makeup for theater, so I love that. It's so much fun. This has been amazing. How can people find you and follow you and work with you?
Yes, my website is up on, I don't know, I don't see my full thing here, but my website is carriekcwest.com. And anybody can email me at carriekcwest.com. And I want to thank you so much for creating a space for voices to speak out loud. And this was fun. It was lovely to meet you. So grateful that you're doing this.
Yeah, I love this. Do you have any last words you want to share with us? Any like ways to bring it all home? Like the best way to glow from the inside out?
The best way to glow from the inside out is just turning on your light. It's there.
Love it.
It's there. Your light is there. And nobody took it out. We put it under wraps because we were afraid.
Mm.
And you can just take the cover off. Please take the cover off. Please. I want to see your light. Somebody said to me, well, why would you want to hear my story? And it's like, why not? I want to hear everybody's story.
Stories are amazing. Stories change lives. Stories are how we connect with each other. Like,
Stories kept me alive. They saved my life.
I love it. I know. I'm like, now I want to hear that story too.
Oh, we'll have to do this again. If you
I
want me, I'd
know.
love to come back on your.
Absolutely. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Popular, your key to magnetic confidence. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend, someone who needs to know how much their voice matters. For more information on booking private sessions with me, as well as my available courses, check out caroldegarrison.com. Remember, when you know your true value, you glow from the inside out. Tune in next week for another reminder of just how amazing you really are.